Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and holy crap. Episode 3 of Arcane is crazy. To say that this is a turning point in the series is kind of an understatement. It's wild. It was crazy. I just got finished watching it. Did not expect it to go that way. Let's just say that. Let me not spoil anything. I want to just get right into it because there's a lot that happened in this episode. Again, I got my handy dandy notes with me. It's working well, guys. It's working well. So I think we're gonna keep doing notes until I can get another monitor to hopefully put this stuff on. But bear with me looking down because, like I said, we got a lot to talk about. But first things first, I want to say that they did a good job with the fake out in the last episode where you think the enforcers are going to find Vi, but no, turns out it's Vander who notices that Vi is actually the one that sent that message to the enforcers in the last one to apparently turn herself in. Which Vander's like, I'm so proud of you, you're a good girl, you have a good heart, don't ever lose your heart. No matter how much they try to beat you down. And man, that's just such a true statement. But of course, being the father figure and just the awesome guy he is, Vander says, I can't let you do that. So he throws her in the closet. And he actually turns himself in. Which is crazy. But it's something you could absolutely see him doing. And of course, Vi's objecting. She hates the idea, but Vander says it himself. It's the only way. They need a name. They need a face. He's turning himself in. But as they're leaving, we find out that Silco has a plan of his own. He attacks the underground, killing everyone except Marcus, who, remember, in the last episode we found out made a deal with him. But this certainly wasn't it. It certainly wasn't it to kill everyone there, which he did. His creature killed everyone there and took Vander. Kidnapped him, to the horror of Vi, of course. They even killed Benzo. Which is crazy, because I liked Benzo. But it happens, and it's kind of wild to see it happen. But let's see. We're going through our notes. Yeah, Benzo dies as well. I even put a little teary mark in my notes. Rip Benzo. But alright, let's go on to our next page and what happens next, because there's a lot that happens. This was a crazy episode. There we go. We transition to Victor and Jace working on their research. And, now I remember. Yeah, we focus on them going on their research. We transition to them. And Victor apparently found a way to stabilize Jace's equipment, or his experiment. They found a way to stabilize the crystal, but they need Jace's equipment to do that. And now we know, from watching the last episode, who has his equipment. What, Heimendinger was his name? And then they realize, oh wait, it's going to be destroyed. We have to go get it right now. So Victor hatches a plan to break into the office, which is crazy. Let's just get that out the way right now. The fact that Victor is willing to do all this just to achieve his dream as well. It's commendable, but you gotta think, it's like, that's kind of crazy. He built a life for himself and he's just not really throwing it away, but like, he's willing to go so far for his dream. It shows his tenacity. It shows he's willing to do what he needs to do. Which I'm sure will play a part later on in the show. Because like I said, a lot of crazy stuff happens. Alright. Yeah, Jace reluctantly agrees to go break into Heimendinger's office. So that's what they do. And now we transition to Vi and the gang. Or Vi telling the gang, I should say, about Vander's kidnapping. And she wants to go break him out, of course, naturally. Like, that's her father, basically. That's their father. That's the man who raised them. Let's just keep it a buck. That's who raised them. So of course she wants to break him out, and she sees Powder, and she begs Powder, "You can't come with us this time. I can't lose you too." Which, in a situation like that, can you really blame her for feeling that way? Like, she's lost everything. They've lost everything, guys. She just lost her father figure. She doesn't want to lose her sister, too. And, of course, Powder reluctantly agrees. But, as in any typical show, doesn't last long. She starts having a mental breakdown, it seems like, being left alone. She's just going crazy, breaking her toys and all that. She's throwing things everywhere, and that's when it finally clicks with her, like, wait a minute. These little jewels we got from our heist the other day are what caused the explosion. I can go help them. So, of course, she races out of the room to go potentially try to help them. And, man, I'm just saying, when I saw that scene, I knew it wasn't going to be good. And, man, it was not good. But anyway, yeah, Powder decides to go help them, finding that out. Because if you found out that, A, the things I've been holding in my bag for like a week or so are highly volatile explosives, I could definitely go help them. You know, I'd be thinking that too, let's be real. But alright. Now, where do we transition? We transition to Silco taking Vander back to the hideout and talking to him about their dream. They even called each other brothers. That's how you know they were extremely close with each other. And you can just hear the venom in his voice, too. He says it himself, like, I hated you for what you did to me. Because we found out that Vander almost killed him earlier in the series, apparently. He almost drowned him, which spurred on that great monologue we had at the beginning of the episode, of course, about drowning. Which is kind of morbid, but if you think about it, it makes sense. It makes sense. But man, it's intense. This was an intense episode through and through. But he starts talking to him about their dream, the nation they wanted to build by connecting the underground and all the slums together. What was it called? Zon? The nation of Zon. And that just really makes you think, like, where is this series going? You know, especially with what happens later on in the episode. Like, they wanted to make an entire nation. Like, what was Vander really up to back in the day? Like, he was up to some crazy, like, revolutionary kind of stuff with Silco, apparently. It was wild. But Silco even said in that conversation, he said, I don't hate you anymore. I even respected you still. Until you became a lapdog for the Enforcers. And of course, Vander didn't have a choice. But we all have choices. And that's the one he chose. And Silco had enough. He couldn't take it anymore. And it was a very intense scene. Filled with tension, and you can hear the venom in Silco's voice. Exactly. Thanks, me. Their dream was to build a nation of Zon. I believe it was pronounced Zon, not Zone, Zon. And that's definitely going to play a part later on. I believe, at least. It feels like too random of a thing to bring up for that not to be a plot point later on, you know? Oh yeah, and I even wrote that we figure out the name of the drug he's making is apparently called Shimmer. And it's apparently extremely dangerous. Can create monsters and just really distort people. It's very dangerous. Yes, but now we transition after that to that incredibly intense scene, honestly. We transition to Victor and Jace breaking into the professor's office, only to be found by the counselor from the previous episode. And you can tell from looking at her, like, she wants to prove herself too. You can tell she was intrigued by the notion of magic and all that. Like, who wouldn't be, honestly? Like, I understand the dangers that it could cause, but the wonders it could create, and the magic, literally just the magic of magic, it's too enticing. It's too enticing to pass up. And Victor and Jace are begging her to just give them a chance. And she does. She actually does. Because like I said, you can tell she was interested. She wants to prove herself just like they do. And she gives them a chance. Distracts the guard that's coming, all that. So they break into the office. And they're experimenting with crystals and all that, you know. And they have a breakthrough. They do it. They actually do it. Partially. They partially do it in this scene. They really showcase that, wow, that the machine really can withstand it. So, as Victor said earlier in the episode, let's crank it up. But unfortunately, they start to attract a lot of attention, as you would with a lot of flashing, magic-looking lights coming out of a window of a really big, prominent building. I think most people would see. And Heimendinger, in fact, finds out. And he goes up there to confront them with the enforcers, because he recognizes that light right away. So he's up there, he's trying to get into the room, and this is where we see just how brilliant Jace actually really is. He was able to remember that spell from when he was a kid and replicate it onto this machine to an extent. And Heimendinger finally breaks in and all that, and he's just taken aback because it works. Their machine works. They got magic to work through science. It's a great scene. It really showcases how wondrous magic can be. And Heimendinger, he's just taken aback like, wow, you guys actually were able to do this. That's crazy. Just because you can do it, though, doesn't mean you should. But of course, that's when the counselor comes in and says that's for the council to decide. She's amazed. You could tell, like, in the back of her mind, she wanted to believe them, but she needed the proof. And the proof is right in the pudding, or literally on the ceiling in this instance. So they're floating in the air and all that. And you can tell she's just thoroughly impressed. She completely wants in on it now. And it looks like the future of Hex Tech is going to revolutionize the capital. Because I can't imagine in the next episode the counselor is going to see this and be like, oh, this is a terrible thing. We can't do this. No, it looked wonderful. Like, just the possibilities they could do. They could really progress their civilization to a whole new level with that kind of magic. So I imagine that it's going to be big. It's going to be big. And it was exciting to watch, guys. It really was. They draw too much attention. Okay. Look at me, looking at my notes. I don't have as many as yesterday, thankfully. And I feel like this video is a little more clear and concise than yesterday, too, which I like. See, we're learning, guys. I'm trying. Guys, I watched this episode like twice. And I took a shit ton of notes. Trust me, I'm trying. Alright, but they succeed in their experiment. And then the like I said, the counselor says, no, it's up for the council to decide their fate and the fate of magic. Which I think is going to be a good thing. I definitely think that it's going to go well for them. But now we transition to Vi and the gang breaking in to go rescue Vander. And, it seems really easy, like, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? They got in there, okay? Vander's just shocked. He's like, what are you doing here, Vi? He's like, how the hell did you get in? There's guards everywhere. And, of course, when something seems too good to be true, it is. Turns out it was a trap set by Silco to get them, and he has his thugs all come in, and it leads to one of the most badass scenes of this episode. Vi just puts on Vander's gloves and just goes out there and just takes them all out. It's pretty sick, I gotta be real. Once again, the animation just for this series is impeccable. Mwah! Just impeccable, guys. It really is. It's very standout. And she's just beating the hell out of him to the extent where he has to make that one guy turn back into the creature to go take her out. And boy, I put up a hell of a fight against the thugs, but when that creature came out, she did not stand a chance. Thankfully, she's able to get away and lock herself into the cell that they had Vander in as they're breaking him out. And it's kind of like a standstill, you know? The creature's trying to get in there, they're trying to get out, and they succeed. They almost succeed. They have the wall broken, Vander's chains are broken, they're ready to go. Until Powder's invention. She learned how to use these crystals as a bomb, basically. And her invention finally worked. At quite literally the worst possible time. And just all hell breaks loose. It is pandemonium. It was kind of tough to watch because you don't expect something like that. I certainly didn't. You kind of think, oh, they're going to get away. But in the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh, this is too easy. There's no way it's going to go that smoothly. And it doesn't. She blows up the entire building, including Vi, Vander, and her friends. Her two friends die in the explosion, which is crazy. One of them literally gets his face slashed. The other gets impaled by a piece of wood, and they get rubble falling on them. They're dead. They're gone. It's kind of crazy. Vi's trapped under rubble. Vander's trapped under rubble. Silco's sent flying. Even his men are messed up. The one woman who I'm pretty sure was the woman that betrayed Vander actually loses her arm saving Silco, it looked like. She's knocked out. Even the creature's thrown about. Silco's in the other room hurt. And that's when he's like, I'm done. I'm done with this. Kill him. So the creature starts going towards them again. And Vander, he's just had enough. He's had enough. He's ready to finally fight. And I will say, he puts up a pretty good fight, guys. He puts up a pretty good fight against this creature. He's giving him body shot, body shot, body shot. But he just can't beat him. He just can't beat him. The creature overpowers him, starts beating him up. Beats the hell out of him, honestly. And then right before round 2 starts, Silco stabs him in the back. Silco stabs Vander in the back. It was a crazy scene. And then Vander's just furious. So we transition back to a flashback of the scene, and you can see it in Silco's eyes. He's terrified. He is terrified. He's reliving that scene again that he probably replays in his head every single day. But this time, he does something. He stabs Vander in the chest again with the knife. And this is the last one. He even tells Vander, I knew you still had the fight in you. As he pushes him off the walkway that they're on. And it's an emotional scene, guys. Vander's done. He's gone. Or at least we think he is. But he just so happens to fall on the shimmer that's down there. And he doesn't have a choice. Silco tells the creature to go kill Vi and all them. But Vander, after taking the shimmer, becomes a giant monster, kills Silco's creature, and he's still retaining his reason. And you could tell he wanted nothing more than to go kill Silco after everything he did, but he chose to save Vi instead. He jumps out the building with her in her arms, and unfortunately, at the end, he dies. And it was in a really emotional scene, honestly. He dies, and his last words to Vi are, protect Powder. And it hits hard, man. She clearly doesn't take it well. Who would take that well? And then we see Powder come out of the woodwork, and she reveals that, hey, my bomb, it finally worked. And you can just look on Vi's face. Her heart drops. She's like, you were the one that did this? Why would you do this? And then Powder finds out that the explosion not only killed their two friends, but resulted in Vander dying too. And she just starts breaking down. She only wanted to help. But of course, her helping only made things worse. In fact, she's a jinx. Vi calls her a jinx, slaps her, hits the shit out of her, by the way, and calls her a jinx. And then she just leaves her there, which was crazy. I didn't think that would happen. That was a very intense scene. Powder's just bawling her eyes out, and of course, who should walk up upon her but Silco and his men? And you would think, oh, he's gonna kill her. He's gonna kill her, get rid of her. No. He actually sympathizes with her. He's been in that position before. He knows how it is. He sympathizes with her. And he takes her in. Like, that was crazy. I did not expect that at all. That was crazy. And Vi, of course, sees it and is trying to stop it. But then Marcus comes out of nowhere, drugs her, and drags her away for some reason, saving her. Because she probably would have died trying to save Powder. But no, he takes her away for some reason, which is kind of wild. And our episode ends with Silco embracing Powder, saying, "We will show them all." And this was an insane episode, guys. From start to finish, it didn't really stop, honestly. I'd argue the slowest parts of the episode were the stuff with Jace and Victor, but even then it was interesting. Like, they're pushing the future forward. They showed the wonders that magic can do, and Powder showed the destruction and evil. Not necessarily evil, the destruction and just danger of magic. So the juxtaposition was really good. I think they did a great job of showcasing both sides, just like in the previous episode. But yeah, guys, this episode was crazy. Like, where are we going from here? Like, this is wild. Like, Powder's a villain now? Like, she's a villain, I guess? What did Marcus do with Vi? You know, like, Vander and her friends are dead. Like, they both have nothing anymore. They have nowhere to go. Like, what's gonna happen? Like, this episode was by far... I probably said this in the last episode too, but this episode was by far the hardest episode not to immediately go to the next episode too. I was that curious. This episode was crazy, guys. I can't wait to see where we go in the next episode. It's going to be insane. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, to say that this episode was the turning point of the show so far is an understatement, because it was wild. Yeah, you guys let me know in the comments how you felt about it, because I'm still thinking about it now, even after watching it twice, and it hit hard, guys. It hit pretty hard. It was a crazy episode. Yeah, let me know how you felt about it in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, because this was fun to do. This episode was fun to do. But it was emotional, man. It was crazy. But yeah, do all that stuff. You know, the YouTuber spiel, all that shabang-a-bang. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next episode. I'm extremely excited for it. I hope you are too. But until then, I'll see ya, and I hope you all have a lovely day.